to feel it to be a part of games like this.
Brew, do you think we underestimated Saquon?
What'd you say? Okay. Did you say we?
I didn't, but you told me to underestimate.
We?
I didn't.
Because I know I didn't on this side of the table. Y'all laughed at me when I said he's going to have a Christian McCaffrey type impact. He's going way beyond Christian McCaffrey.
That's true.
And what this shows you, they've always had a great run game, right? Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift. Same thing for Baltimore with some of their guys, Dobbins and those guys. But you put an elite back behind that offensive line in Philadelphia, and this is what you get. And so let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And he's going to do this for the next few years, says Brew.
Says Brew. Go ahead, Greg.
Look, I was with you. I didn't underestimate. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
did. I said he's not going to have a major impact.
We all like so, I mean, I don't really need to go on this one. I'm going to pass it to
So I want to take it a slightly different direction because I got this one dead wrong. I admitted that months ago. I even briefly picked the Eagles to make the Super Bowl. Maybe
you had a thing with
you listen, the heart wants what the heart wants. All right, so I have, Brew, a kind of out-of-the-box take that I want to bounce off you. So Saquon was in the Josh Allen draft, okay? So let's just say, let's just say that the Giants, who needed a quarterback, let's just say they did. And Saquon lands on a normal team. Denver had the 5th pick of the draft. Would the entire era of the devalued running back not have happened? If Saquon Barkley went in the top 5 and this guy who was this transcendent player at Penn State went to a regular franchise, not the disaster course in Jersey with the Giants, and just every year, it's like, hey, there's 1,700 yards, there's 80, it's this. Because I think he has gotten drastically better as a player over the course of his. I know that sounds. I'm sure he's gotten better, but you know what I mean. I think he was. He could have been doing this. And are we actually? Was that portion of his career with the Giants? If you, as your buddy Bill Simmons would say, if you play his career out 100 times, was that kind of the worst possible outcome? Was what we got with the Giants. And this level of player, maybe not 2,500 yards over the course of the season, was who he was supposed to always be. And with any regular team, we would have seen it.
No. Now, I said that if Saquon Barkley went somewhere else, he'd be great. But he is all-time great with the Philadelphia Eagles. Make no mistake about it. That's why when Saquon was breaking records, he went running to the O-line and said, look what we did. Hey, we did this. We. Would Saquon Barkley have significantly better numbers if he went anywhere else but New York? Absolutely. But he is legendary with the Philadelphia Eagles. And that O-line and the threat of Jalen Hurts with the RRPO. Make no mistake about it. You don't just magically go to like Denver or any other team. Yeah, he would still have great years, great seasons. Better than what he did with New York. But don't just pretend, like, even this is trying to take away what the Philadelphia Eagles do. Like, it's just kind of crazy. It's a combination that works beautifully. This is the same thing that we can say about other quarterbacks, other weapons, where I say it's great that quarterback went with that coach. If they went to another team, they're probably not as great. He's probably not as great. He won't develop as much. It's the reality. If Tom Brady didn't go to New England and went to another team, he's probably not the GOAT. It's just a reality. If Peyton Manning goes to the Patriots, probably has a significantly better career, probably wins more. That's just a reality. And you guys already know that I say this about Mahomes and Josh Allen, etc. It's not to say that those players still won't be great no matter where they go. Saquon Barkley was great no matter where he went. But there's certain matches that really have you truly succeed and be elite and special. So again, it's not only just this O-line that now boosts Saquon, but again, it's now also the impact of Jalen Hurts. Like if you just put Saquon, on it with Matthew Stafford, you're probably not going to get this. You're just not. And if you had Saquon with Jalen Hurts, but not as great as, this great of an O-line, you won't get this. Like it's all a combination. It's all a combination. So it's just this perfect matchup. Heck, I wouldn't even say if he went to the Baltimore Ravens, he would have this season. And he had Lamar in with that, and Derrick Henry had a great year. But their play calling was weird. Their inability to just say, hey, we're going to rely on Derrick Henry was absurd. If they ran the ball more Derrick Henry, they would have played the Kansas City Chiefs instead of the Buffalo Bills. So again, this is a combination between the O-line, Jalen Hurts, having A.J. Brown, Devontae, Dallas Goedert, having Kellen Moore's offense. Make no mistake about it, this is a team effort. This is collective. This is why the team decided, hey, do we go for this record or not? Saquon understands that deeply. There's film of him going around to the O-line saying, look what we did, look what we did. When Saquon rips off a run, there's film of Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore coming together, giving a hug to each other. It's all connected, man. It's all connected. So many of Saquon's runs are Jalen Hurts in that moment decides, do I keep this ball or do I give it to Saquon? That's Jalen Hurts' direction. That's Jalen Hurts directing that offense. Many of Saquon's runs he could have pulled and kept himself. The one checking into the runs and checking in to set up Saquon to rip off a huge run. It is all connected. But you know what? Just for fun, let's listen to this real fast. Nick didn't just get this wrong. He got this wildly wrong. And also, Brew, don't be doing a victory lap on Saquon Barkley. Because, yeah, he was definitely pro Saquon. But he had the Eagles losing to the Commanders and said it with his chest out. So, no, you don't get to do a victory lap on Saquon when you're wrong about that.
I'm expecting a monster year from Saquon.
No, and I think the Giants are not particularly well run, but I think this was a good decision. This was a great job by Diana getting the interview, but I was watching it, and like Diana said to him that during it they said, that he is the brand of the Giants, the most popular jersey, and the Giants are Saquon. That's more a product of how bad the Giants have been than how excellent Saquon Barkley has been. Saquon Barkley was one of the most dynamic college football players of his era, and as a rookie, looked like a phenom. And since then, has had one pretty good year, a handful of injuries, and a bunch of, I wouldn't pay that guy, make him the third highest paid running back in the league on a second contract for year 6. I wouldn't do that. And I don't think he is. I want to show you the Giants since he's been their offensive ranks in points.
Yeah, and then he tries to now go use stats to show, hey, look, the Giants are not actually that better with Saquon than without Saquon. Sure. I remember reviewing that very clip. So yeah. Again, when you get a take that wrong, I mean, think about saying, seriously, you really got to think about it. Because it's easy sometimes when we see clips like this to just be like, whoa, my God, that's so wrong. Or, oh, man, that was a bad take. But you got to really let it marinate for a second. You do. You really got to, take it slow. Nick Wright said that the Philadelphia Eagles would be third in the NFC East and not even make the playoffs, behind the Cowboys and the Commanders. He said Saquon Barkley was a bad pickup, that they overpaid for him. that Saquon Barkley is not that good, that he really only had one good year, that he didn't make the Giants a better team. He said that Kellen Moore is not a good OC and that Fangio is not a good defensive coordinator, and questioned the moves of Howie Roseman. Now think about how this season unfolded. Saquon Barkley would have literally set the record for the most rushing yards of all time. He obviously sat that final game, so it was still, what was it, top 8, I believe? So still historic. Broke multiple records. Is now second of all time, just like 30 yards for most yards an entire season, including playoffs. Has been dominant in the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles, a team that Nick said wasn't even going to make the playoffs, is now going to the Super Bowl. Let's not act like that's some easy feat. He said that they weren't going to make the playoffs, and they went to the Super Bowl. He said Fangio is not a good defensive coordinator, and the Eagles have the best defense in the NFL. And he said Howie Roseman is not that good of a GM. He said he just picks players that the media likes, and therefore the media says how great of a GM he is. Well, he went out and got Saquon. He went out and got CJ Gardner-Johnson. He went out and drafted, Cooper DeJean, etc. Turned that defense into a top defense. He hired Fangio and Kellen Moore. So just think about how fundamentally wrong someone was about every single take. Every single breakdown about why the Eagles are not good was the exact opposite. Said Cam Jurgens won't be a good center. Said that O-line won't be good. Said that the Philadelphia Eagles have no leadership. Said Nick Sirianni won't even make it to Thanksgiving. Now he's only one of 2 coaches making it to February. You just simply can't be more wrong. I mean, seriously, you got to really just think about that. Every single Philadelphia Eagles take was just flat out wrong. The most wrong take that I had was that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I said, I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will make the playoffs. They made the playoffs and then they lost first round. And it went down to the last game of the season for them just to sneak on by and get into the playoffs. And it took Kirk Cousins to just throw like 19 interceptions in 2 games. And then for them to start a rookie quarterback. But again, I was still wrong, no doubt. But you see how like close it got? Literally came down to the final game of the season. And they still lost in the first round. It's not like they went off and went to the Super Bowl and Baker Mayfield set records and, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Remember when I said the Philadelphia Eagles will be a top team in the NFL? Remember when I said that they're a top Super Bowl contender? I remember. Remember when I said Saquon Barkley will be special and will have a Christian McCaffrey-like impact? I remember when everyone yelled at me when I said that. Saquon Barkley's nowhere near as good as Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he's better than Christian McCaffrey, actually. Significantly better than Christian McCaffrey. And he didn't have multiple years with, Shanahan, who's a running genius for that offense. Yeah. I remember that. Pretty interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Saquon Barkley? I'm not even going to say we. Have they underestimated? Have you underestimated how good Saquon is? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way. Let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.